The Viking Portable Library World Bible, edited by Robert O. Ballou, the Buddhist, will end with From Tibetan Doctrine. Elegant sayings of the Lamas. You know, the people who are believed to be reincarnated Buddhas. A hen, when at rest, produceth much fruit. A peacock, when it remaineth still, hath a handsome tail. A gentle horse hath a swift pace. The quiescence of a holy man is the sign of his being a sage, not to be cheered by praise, not to be grieved by blame, but to know thoroughly one's own virtues or powers are the characteristics of an excellent man. In the same place where the great Lord Buddha, spiritual master, is present, who would acknowledge any other man? When the sun hath arisen, though there be many bright stars in the sky, not one of them is visible. A foolish man proclaimeth his qualifications. A wise man keepeth them secret within himself. A straw floateth on the surface of water, but a precious gem placed upon it sinketh. It is only narrow-minded men that make such distinctions as this is our friend, this our enemy. A liberal-minded man showeth affection for all, for it is uncertain who may yet be of aid to one. Well, if that's the only reason why you can do it, there's more altruistic people than that. An excellent man, like precious metal, is in every way invariable. A villain, like the beams of a balance, is always varying upwards and downwards. The greatest wealth consists in being charitable, and the greatest happiness in having tranquility of mind. Experience is the most beautiful adornment, and the best comrade is one that hath no desires. Men of little ability, too, by depending upon the great, may prosper. A drop of water is a little thing, but when will it dry away if united to a lake? Hurtful expressions should never be used, not even against an enemy, nor inevitably they will return to one, like an echo from a rock. When about to perform any great work, endeavor to have a trustworthy associate. If one would burn down a forest, the aid of a wind is, of course, needed. To him who knoweth the true nature of things, what need is there of a teacher? To him who hath recovered from illness, what need is there of a physician? To him who hath crossed the river, what need is there of a boat? An astronomer maketh calculations and divinations concerning the motions of the moon and the stars, but he doth not divine that in his own household, his own womenfolk, being at variance, are misbehaving. So obviously take care of one's house first, or, well, you don't have absolute control over anybody, but, you see these people preaching out that don't even, make any efforts on their own family. In eating, sleeping, fearing, and copulating, men and beast are alike. Well, they can be alike. Man excelleth the beast by engaging in religious practices. So why should a man, if he be without religion, not be equal to the beast? Therion equals 666, which means beast. I'm throwing the Greek word in here. Anyways. Though many stars shine, and that ornament of the earth, the moon also shineth. Yet when the sun setteth, it becometh night. The science which teacheth arts and handicrafts is merely science for the gaining of a living. But the science which teacheth deliverance from worldly existence, is not that the true science? That which one desireth not for oneself, do not do unto others. The foolish are like ripples on water, for whatsoever they do is quickly effaced. But the righteous are like carvings upon stone, for their smallest act is durable. The supreme path of altruism is a shortcut leading to the realm of conquerors, a track more speedy than that of a racing horse. The selfish, however, know not of it. Charity produceth the harvest in the next birth. Chastity is the parent of human happiness. Patience is an adornment becoming to all. Industry is the conductor of every personal accomplishment. Meditation is the clarifier of a beclouded mind. Intellect is the weapon which overcometh every enemy. Gloat not, even though death and misfortune overwhelm thine enemies. Boast not, even though thou equal Indra in greatness. Or people presume, whether demigod or actually God. That's quite the claim, or quite the thought. Some there are who turn inside out their whole interior by means of over-talkativeness. Be humble and meek if thou would be exalted. Praise everyone's good qualities if thou would have friends. Relinquish an evil custom even though it be of thy fathers and ancestors. Adopt a good custom even though it be established among thine enemies. Poison is not to be taken even though offered by one's mother. And that includes intoxicants too. But gold is acceptable even for one who is inimical. But gold is acceptable even for one who is inimical. Be not too quick to express the desires of thy heart. That's something that's far and far more common of a mistake that people are doing right now. Be not short-tempered when engaged in a great work. Be not jealous of a devotee who is truly religious and pious. You can strive to be like such people, but being jealous is like, why? Consult not him who is habituated and hardened to evil doing. Rogues there are even in religious orders. Poisonous plants grow even on hills of medicinal herbs. Some there are who marvel not at others removing mountains, but who consider it a heavy task when obliged to carry a bit of fleece. Remember the Jason the Argonauts? Well, there was a method of grifting gold using fleece. I'm not sure if that was a piece of information that they were familiar with. Up by the Black Sea and the Tibetans on the other end, and, well, further on the other end, but anyways. He who is ever ready to take the credit for any action when it hath proved successful, and is equally ready to throw the blame on others when it goeth wrong in the least, and who is ever looking for faults in those who are learned and righteous, possesseth the nature of a crow. Preaching religious truth to an unbeliever is like feeding a venomous serpent with milk. Some of the venom of serpents is kind of like milky looking, because they do that thing by they hold the snake's mouth open and kind of milk it. Although a cloth be washed 100 times, how can it be rendered clean and pure if it be washed in water which is dirty? He who knoweth the precepts by heart, but faileth to practice them, is like unto who lighteth a lamp, and then shutteth his eyes. Who can say with certainty that one will live to see the morrow? How can it be just to kill helpless and inoffensive creatures? So I met a Buddhist monk that he had a string of beads. I don't know, they were not exactly small, so I'm not sure exactly what his beads were made out of. I think they were just basic wooden beads, nothing special. But he would chant out his 108 precepts, and I don't know the 108 Buddhist precepts, but it's like you have these people, you meet them, they're certified in having memorized the Quran like millions of others, and some of it, I'm not saying there's not value of this for the intelligence and other stuff, because that is certainly established, but some of these people, you meet somebody who's just has a few, can just say really basic prayer, and they actually sound like they have a better understanding of the faith than these big scholars that have memorized the Quran, maybe huge sections of things. They can quote things, but their understanding, so they're very knowledgeable, but their understanding is, but even more important is you have these people, could totally go against it. And this is more common in the people who speak the language. How many times during Ramadan did I hear, after hearing stuff, oh yeah, leave the apostates alone, don't kill, there's a punishment for this other than killing, and they're saying, well, it's really not good that there aren't countries that aren't killing these people nowadays. And it's like, no, that's what we just read, that we're not supposed to do that. And in other ways. But don't get me wrong, these people are more likely to practice some of these good values than otherwise, and I see this with other traditions too, that people have learned a lot, but they don't have understanding, and even worse, they don't even have practice. So, but there's less of that in religious communities than you think. People tend to be better because of their knowledge and all that, but sometimes not. So it's better to have a little bit than to have a lot and, not do anything with it. You be that land, that water rains on it, it produces vegetation, and it, stores some water for animals and people to drink.